That's good. It's not Jesse. There's
Recording in progress.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Dorrance.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Orr.
here.
Councilmember Wilson. Councilmember Woodall.
Excused. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council action not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Public, welcome. Would anyone like to? Public comment? Any hands raised? Any emails? We will move on to the consent calendar. Are there any members of the council who would like to remove an item on the consent calendar? No. No. Okay, any members of the public? No. No. Hand raised emails? No. Okay. Then I will ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Their motion, is there a second? Heather?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 4-0. We will move on to staff reports and staff communications, page 32 in our packets. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. So it'll be a short staff report this session, but our nuisance advisory committee, which is scheduled to normally meet this coming Wednesday at 3 p.m. The meeting has been canceled for this month and will be resuming next month. So just want to make sure the council is aware of that. And unless there's any questions from the council for staff, we're happy to try to answer them and return back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, city manager. Mayor Pro Tem?
No pass for transport to Miranda's. You know, I was gonna say it. And other than that, no questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Orr, Councilmember Wilson?
I think I'm good.
Yes. And are there any hands raised? Public comment? No emails? Then we will close. I have no questions, so we will close staff reports and communications and move on to special call items. Community affairs. Informational report on the development of a new solid waste franchise agreement and related topics included, but not limited to, universal collection and SB 1383, page 37 in our packets. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. So this conversation has been ongoing for a number of years related to both universal collection or franchise agreement. So as the council will recall, our solid waste franchise agreement expires December 31st of 2026. And so we have been working on that particular issue of updating the franchise agreement. And then also beginning in September of 2019, kind of the city has been exploring the concept of universal collection for all properties in the city to have mandatory garbage recycling and organics processing or collection, excuse me, in the city of Rio Dell. So this was first in 2019 brought up at the Nuisance Advisory Committee, where Recology came to the committee and gave a presentation to the Nuisance Advisory Committee. That committee recommended adoption to the City Council. And also encouraged the city of Fortuna to also adopt universal collection. And then there was just a series of meetings in 2021, including some workshops, as well as an every door direct mailer that went out to the community soliciting comments related to universal collection. And those comments are attached to your packet for your review. And so at that point in time, we were thinking that we were going to be implementing it in a very short order to both update the solid waste franchise agreement and to potentially adopt a universal collection. However, the evolution of this over time, and there's should be at your desk just a short little handout of the timeline on the backside. By the time that we got to June of 2024, the information had evolved to such a degree that universal collection was never going to be really an option available to Rio Dell unless and until Fortuna in particular adopted and went to universal collection. So that process kind of stalled out while we were in a waiting pattern to make that consideration. Obviously, there's economies of scale when you're talking about a larger group. There's new equipment that has to be purchased, new bins, new trucks, and that sort of thing. Again, those conversations are reflected in the minutes that are attached to your packet. Just one point of caution I would give to the council in reviewing those minutes is any of the numbers that you see from those discussions in 2021, I would kind of disregard. And part of our goal tonight is to set the process in motion to get good numbers for the council to consider down the road here in the next couple months. So there have been a couple very, very important developments in between 2021 and today. One is that we have retained CSG consultants using CalRecycle grant money to help us with the negotiation process with Recology Eel River and also compliance issues related to SB 1383 and all of the new regulations that are they're here. They're already here in Humboldt County and across California. We're in an advantageous position in that our solid waste franchise agreement ends at the end of 2026. So the timing is actually pretty good for us to start making an adjustment. And the other important piece of information is that we're partnering. CSG is also working on behalf of the County of Humboldt, City of Eureka, City of Arcata, and City of Fortuna. And our goal is to try to standardize the solid waste franchise agreements across the board between the cities with only minor variations to adjust for the unique circumstances of each city. And so we've been able to cost share in terms of pulling that off, but this is a major sea change in terms of how the jurisdictions are cooperating. We're holding regular solid waste local task force meetings. We're holding regular staff meetings related to the 1383 implementation. And we weren't doing that in 2021 and before. So there's just this incredible synergy between the cities and the county of all of us working together to benefit everybody. So it also benefits Recology in that there's kind of a standard expected contract language, whereas before when each jurisdiction was going at it independently, it's kind of a big confusing mess to try to pull all that together if you're Recology Eel River or Recology. So again, we've been working with Kathleen Gallagher of CSG Consultants. She's also been working with all of our partners on this. And there's been a laser focus in terms of making sure that the costs that are represented by Recology are accurate. So none of the jurisdictions up here, including Rio Dell, have undergone this level of support and access to kind of modern solid waste franchise advisement and a modern agreement, which will be coming forward eventually to the council as we move forward with the new franchise agreement. So I'm very excited about that, and Rio Dell's been right there with the other partners, and our understanding is that the other smaller cities, Fortuna, Blue Lake, and Trinidad, although I'm not sure exactly who their solid waste franchise user is, are on board with trying to streamline these agreements and kind of bring them together. So that's very good news. And so ultimately what we're trying to do and accomplish with tonight's meeting is to get direction from the council on what you would like to see so that we can go back to Recology at the negotiation table and discuss the implementation of a new contract and what that would look like. Both cost-wise and what they're capable of doing and so on and so forth. And then from there, that's where the rubber starts to hit the road in terms of, signing agreements. We'll also have to update our city ordinances to adjust for, requirements in the new contract and to make sure that we're on top of all of 1383 ordinances and regulations that were required. And so, so there are going to be just a couple things that the council will want to just be aware of that are, strictly optional for the council's consideration and direction to your staff, which is that, universal collection is not a mandate for the city of Rio Dell. It very well likely will be at some point in the future. And part of the past discussions about this were what is the most economical time to get on board and to have an agreement that is very similar to Fortuna's is when Fortuna goes to universal collection. Now, Rio Dell does not currently have any time schedule order or corrective action plan through Power Cycle. Fortuna does, Eureka does, the county does, Arcata does, but we don't. So all those jurisdictions are being forced to adopt universal collection, and just the consideration here is that over time, those requirements, when we're trying to get to 75% diversion and what statewide, and when we're trying to get ultimately to zero waste, so zero landfill contribution statewide, which is the ultimate goal, and there is a local group up here who strongly advocates. Eventually, those requirements will come to Rio Dell. The second piece of that is also the SB 1383, and similarly with the organics collection, technically speaking, right now we have a 5-year waiver, which I believe expires in 27, and they will be opening up a potential round for an extension of that 5-year waiver. But again, the problem is are they going to change that requirement? So right now we have a waiver as a rural population area, but that waiver again eventually will most likely go away because the state wants to really meet those targets, the 75% diversion, the 100% diversion, and so those regulations only ever ramp up. And what is the most economical time for us to do it? That where we can leverage the public information requirements with the city of Fortuna and share that load so that everybody kind of knows what's going on and we don't have drastic differences from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. That would be one argument as to why you would do that today or in the coming year. So those are kind of some of the considerations and direction we want to get from the council. There will be multiple bites at the apple on this particular issue, but this is kind of the initial direction that the council wants that we need from the council in order to produce factual numbers and bring them back to the council. So on the line, we do have Kathleen Gallagher from CSG Consultants. Again, I really appreciate their hard work with all of the jurisdictions in dialing and really kind of putting Recology into a position where they have to tighten up their game in all of Humboldt County, because the jurisdictions are working together, never happened before. And and so some of the numbers again that I talked about in the minutes are not going to be, they're just not, none of them are going to be the numbers that you see coming forward over the next couple of months. So that's a really big deal. So Kathleen's been here, and I've kind of gone over some of the highlight decision points, and we'll get to about 6 questions for the council to weigh in on. We'll kind of work through those, but I'll go ahead and turn it over to Kathleen to see if she is able to give a presentation. So.
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Kyle. I just wanted to make sure I audio checked that I can be heard.
We're good.
Excellent. Thank you. Really good to be with you all tonight. Thanks for spending some time to, as my colleagues and I say, talk trash. I've been in the recycling and garbage world since 1989, a very long time. And with CSG, I only work with jurisdictions. I do not work with private entities. I don't work with Recologies or Waste Managements or Republics, just to avoid conflict of interest. That is the company CSG. We only provide service to jurisdictions. So we just wanted to share that with you. As Kyle said, yeah, SB 1383, it's a behemoth of a new law. It is an unfunded mandate, so it has got a significant amount of requirements on jurisdictions. And like Kyle said, we have been underway on this very strong collaborative effort between Rio Dell, Fortuna, and Arcata, Eureka, and the county. And just a quick update. It sounds like you've been very familiar with SB 1383, but some of the major mandates is like Kyle had said, it's universal or mandatory collection for all businesses and for all residents. It's color compliance with the collection containers. It's making sure that contamination monitoring is happening. And what they mean when we say contamination is, so in your recycling bin, there's not a tennis shoe or there's not a black plastic bag. That is contamination. And so part of SB 1383 is some mandatory checks to make that happen. And we'll go into more detail in that in a later time. So part of what, in terms of SB 1383, we have been underway with talking to Recology about some of their best practices, talking about successful profit margins to make sure that these numbers will come through cost effectively. So that has been a big part of what we've been doing. So like Kyle had said, one of our goals is to get a conversation and feedback for the City Council tonight, is to get your feedback on some of the options. And then coming away from this meeting tonight, I would integrate your feedback and what your preferences are into the new franchise agreement, and meet with Kyle and Recology and work out a lot of those details. And that is our intent, is to get your feedback, integrate those into the new franchise agreement. And in the coming months, we would come back to you after Recology has given us a cost-effective cost proposal, rates. We'll talk about the Proposition 218 public hearing notice, et cetera. Those are in the future, but first we want to really just get into what you prefer and what you want in Rio Dell. The first one, Kyle, if agreeable with you, I was just going to jump right into the very first one on the staff report, which is on page 39 of the Universal Collection of Garbage, Recycling, and Organics. so universal collection. Kyle just talked a bit more about it. One of the key things is that right now, when the services are voluntary, oftentimes they're not very cost effective. And what very simply is when a recology truck's going down a street and they're only picking up, say, seven recycling bins instead of 30, there's not a lot of cost efficiency there. So one of the key things that we're looking to do is provide a consistent weekly service to residents and to businesses for our garbage, organics, and recycling. And there are some exceptions. SB 1383 does allow us to do waivers. So if it's an auto body shop, or if it's a business that doesn't produce organics, there is a what's called as a waiver process, and we would put that on the Rio Dell website, and it would allow that auto body shop to request a waiver, and that waiver would have to be approved by the city. And this is something that the very extensive SB 1383 regulations allows. And I'm not going to get too into the weeds, but I'm happy to answer any questions about that along the line. So that's sort of the background and what the implementation is. So what we were looking at is, for your consideration, is to consider perhaps option A, which is full implementation. So because Rio Dell's current franchise agreement expires December 31st, 2026, we would have these new universal collection begin January 1st, 2027. And just a quick side note, Arcata, Eureka, Fortuna County are all going to commence their services on July 1st, 2026. So those services, all of Recology, will be commencing those services and transitioning on July 1st, 2026. I think this is good because if council decides that we want to do full implementation, a lot of the Rio Dell businesses and residents will see a lot of that outreach and education that's been happening around to our neighboring jurisdictions. And we will have outreach and education to specific for Rio Dell. So that's one thing I just wanted to note. So that full implementation of option A would be weekly collection of garbage, recycling, and organics. And of course, the positives to that would be to meet that SB 1383, as Kyle said. The state of California is very committed to getting organics out of the landfill because organics and landfills produces methane, which is a super carbon pollutant. It's 84 times more global warming potential than carbon dioxide. So getting that out of the landfill is a very strong environmental move on the positive side. And of course, we would be consistent with our neighboring cities. And then there's the cost efficiencies, where we will, in the new franchise agreement that you will see, is there's allocation across the jurisdiction. So we won't just have one new truck in Rio Dell. That will cross over to Fortuna, and there will be an allocation and a spreading out of those fixed costs. So that is a real benefit, so that the Rio Dell businesses and residents won't be footing the whole bill for those new services. And of course, the cons with this weekly collection, there is going to be increases because that is mandatory collection of new containers, trucks, truck drivers, etc. So that is, in a nutshell, option A. And then option B is, as Kyle said, we do have a waiver. Rio Dell has a waiver until 2027. And Cal Recycle, who's the enforcement agency, will allow us to reapply for a waiver mid 2026. So they're not giving us a whole lot of detail about that right now. But what we are hearing is that they're going to be more stringent about allowing waivers. And they are looking to have jurisdictions really step up because there is this very big effort to, like I said, get organics out of the landfill. So the other option for council to consider is deferring our implementation of the organics collection until it is mandatory. So if we did receive a new waiver effective 2027, we could defer collection until that waiver was exhausted. We don't know if that's going to be a 2-year waiver or a 5-year waiver. And just one thing to keep in mind is as other jurisdictions are rolling out these organics, it may make sense to just do full implementation while all other jurisdictions are doing this. Recology has come and met us at the table in terms of trying to be as cost efficient as we possibly can be. So that is the pros on that. In terms of deferring it is, of course, we're going to see less cost because we will not be rolling out the organics. But it could cause some confusion by Rio Dell residents and businesses if they're seeing their Fortuna neighbors getting these services, but they're not. So it's again that consistency. So that is option number. That is universal collection, and I'm wondering if we want to just open up questions and have discussion on that now, or if we want to roll right into the next item. I wanted to get direction from Kyle or City Council on what your preference is.
I will, hello, hi.
Hello there.
Thank you for being here and explaining all this huge issue to us. We appreciate you. I will go ahead and throw out the questions now. I think that if we do step by step, that way no one has to try and hold on too long to a question and then forget it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'm going to save a lot of the super nitpicky questions until we actually have numbers in front of us, because every time I think, oh, that's a good part, I think it's probably not the time. So in the interest of brevity, I do want to just comment that I think that just because we have the option to kick the can down the road doesn't really mean that is a good option. I have kind of been involved in this since the nuisance committee brought this up years ago, and this is coming, whether we defer now, whether we want it to come. This is happening. This is something that we're going to have to deal with. I think that we should just do it now while everybody else does. From the very beginning of this issue, as city manager said, this has been wait for Fortuna, see what everybody else is doing. I like the cohesive approach, especially if everybody else is doing it in July, 6 months before we are. Think that I'm liking that. So not really questions, more just comments on the larger scheme of things for me. So that is it for now. I will have questions later down the road, but I'd like to see numbers first. So thanks.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Orr.
No questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilson.
Yes, I'm going down the line with Councilmember Carter that we get this going now. We've been talking about this. I know he goes back before our current city manager got here, that previous city manager, he wanted universal collection. So it seems like I've heard about this the whole time I've been on the council since 2012. And here we are in 2025. And we're still not we haven't addressed that. So I would really like to get something done instead of this can kicking thing, that we get the universal collection. The other part that I still have a big concern on is the 1383 issue. Do you have, what's your relationship and how are you working with HWMA? Because they're the ones that are ultimately going to handle, to my understanding, the 1383 organics.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
processing or whatever. Nobody seems to have an answer for this 1383.
Thank you so much for that question. I've been working very closely with the executive director, Eric. He has been at most of our meetings. We have had many ongoing conversations about the delivery of the organics, keeping the organics clean. As you might remember, the organics will be delivered to HWMA. They do have a processor, a preprocessor ready to receive these organics in July, and in the case of Rio Dell, into January of 2027. HWMA has been very closely working with us, and Eric's been a great asset in terms of on the ground, keep it real type of response back to us in terms of these programs, and. Yeah, most notably, when he was talking about keeping materials clean, he has been a big part of our conversation. So, and Hillary has been a big part of their finance staff has been part of our conversations, and they will continue to be. We've been to have a very, like Kyle had said a little earlier, it's been a very good collaborative effort, kind of across the board between the jurisdictions and HWMA and myself.
We get a fourth container, or is the 1383 organics going to go in with our current green waste organics?
Yes, it is. So the green cart, the food waste will go in where the yard waste is. They will be mixed.
Does it just go in a bag, or does, I mean?
No, that was an early on, and that was an early concept, is that the food waste would be bagged and placed inside the yard waste container. At this point, it will all just be commingled. So at your curbside, you will have, if you have the existing yard waste container, you will just be dropping your food waste in that container. And by the way, that container will be relabeled to state that it accepts food waste. Here's the food waste that it accepts. Here's what's not acceptable. So that is the current plan, unless Eric has changed the direction on that in the last couple of weeks. That is the plan in terms of how this material will be collected and how it will be delivered to HWMA, and then ultimately how it will be transferred from HWMA to the organics processor.
So when it goes in, they'll just process it all in one process. So
I'm sorry, time?
The chicken bone will be transferred with the tulips.
The food waste will be commingled with the yard trimmings, with the existing yard trimmings, leaves, tree limbs, etc.
All right. Well, then, I'll just refer back to, like, as Councilmember Carter said, I would like to see more of the stuff with the cost. I know you got to keep updating this cost situation. I am for definitely moving ahead with getting the universal process going. You're probably going to hear this probably more than once tonight, but the city of Rio Dell has got to wake up themselves. I mean, all we have there is basically staff and the contractor and the council that come here, and this is my understanding is correct. Approximately half of the city is on collection at this point, and so I'm hoping that's not going to cost. To go to universal collection isn't going to increase the cost, but that's what you're going to do. I'll talk to the manager. That's what you're going to do with this contractor, is get those prices nailed down so that we say, okay, here's what universal collection is going to cost versus what happens now.
Correct. So we're looking for direction from the council so that we can go to our franchise hauler, Recology, and they can help produce some numbers that we can then verify with CSG to make sure that they're accurate numbers.
That's what I thought I heard. And I mean,
Yes.
the other part that I know is gonna happen, and then I don't know how drastic that's gonna be, is what the cost, the added cost of 1383 gets processed into this, what that will do to our franchise agreement or to our, the day-to-day or weekly, monthly billing cycle is gonna go up, I believe, substantially. And that's something that the city of Rio Dell, the citizens need to get a grip on, and I don't know if they don't want to participate, I'm not sure until they get a bill, and then everybody wants to show up in this building and throw a fit.
Yeah.
And so, I'm kind of losing, this is personally, I'm kind of losing patience with the city for not wanting to get involved, because the city has been talking about this for several years. So I don't believe we've been deficient. I think we've been more proactive than most of the small cities, actually, particularly with 1383. And, you know, our, what do you call it, our franchise agreements, we've been pretty good with that. So I think I've said enough for tonight, but definitely would like to see us move ahead.
Thank you. And if I may comment very quickly back and similar to what Kyle said, the intent is like hearing your feedback tonight is that I would integrate that into the new franchise agreement that has been drafted. Once we have all of those nailed down, the intent is for Recology to provide us with the cost proposal. And we sit down, again, like Kyle had said, we sit down and look and make sure that there are no strange numbers, funny math. We want to make sure that the numbers are very accurate. And then we would bring those forward as well. And that cost proposal would be included with the franchise agreement as Exhibit A, as well as what the resulting new rates would be for residents and for businesses. So if you had a 32-gallon container, those rates will all be calculated. And of course, we're bringing that back to City Council for your review and your consideration and your approval. So all that comprehensive package will be forthcoming once we nail down what you want in the franchise agreement.
And I just, I'm aboard. I just want to be very clear for anyone who reads the minutes or looks back or is listening now, that what the cost, the city manager said that, you know, the cost will be different than it was, disregard what you saw in 2021. But the difference is going to be higher. That's the difference. That's the thing. I mean, everything goes up. I mean, or is it?
Well, I mean,
the longer we wait. I don't mean to say it's going to be higher there. I just mean the longer you wait.
Oh yeah.
Things go up. That's just the way it works. The cost of everything goes up. So to do it now, it's always better to just do it as soon as, if you're going to do it as soon as you can, because it will save over time. It will save all of us some money. And also that if we do it this way, it's very important that I think the citizens realize that this does allow us to share the burden. It goes across all of the jurisdictions, and that's a huge thing, that Rio Dell does not have to bear the burden. We wait, and then at the end, everyone else is in, and we're sitting out here, and then we decide, well, it's a mandate, we have to do it, and now we have to bear the burden of education, of any new vehicles, all of that alone. So I know that's been stated. I just think that we just need to state it one more time very clearly so that the residents know that this isn't something that we take lightly. This isn't something that, you know, we're just being frivolous about in our decision making, but this is something that is coming down the pike, and doing it as a group, especially in a situation where we don't ever do anything as a group, it seems like. But I think that that's a very, very important thing and a very strong reason to look at this in the positive way. So that's all I have to.
So just for clarification, I want to make sure that we're very clear about this. The council is the consensus of the council is to move forward with option A at this point.
Correct.
I would say so.
We're not adopting it tonight, we're just saying we're moving ahead for option
Right.
A. I believe that's what I think we're saying, that's what I heard we're saying.
So
All
option,
right, well, I think we can, Kathleen, I think we can move to item number 2 and slide number 2, Wilson.
sounds great. Thank you so much for that thoughtful feedback. So number 2, residential bulky item collection. So a new program. So some of the neighboring jurisdictions have this. What this is it provides an at the curb service for residents to dispose of their large bulky items, like a couch or an appliance or a mattress. Instead of waiting for a cleanup event, an annual cleanup event where you have to throw it in your truck or get that down to the cleanup event, this you bring right to your curbside, and then you schedule it. You call Recology and say, I want it picked up on my collection day on Tuesday, and they will come and pick it up. And then just real quickly, I just wanted to give you some details. This is in the franchise agreement. So it is up to 2 cubic yards. And so, like I said, it can be one appliance. It could also include electronic equipment like a television or a computer. And there are some contingencies about the length of material. I won't go into too much detail. So that is the over high level description of the bulky item. I'll just have to say, I do have Recology. I live in the Bay Area. I have Recology. We have 2 bulky item pickups, and I can't wait for my bulky item pickup because I can just bring it right to the curb and they collect it. So option 1 is to offer 1 free annual bulky item pickup per household. And I just want to caution on the word free. So the annual bulky item pickup, there is a cost associated, but the resident is not paying directly for the cost. That cost is spread over all the rates. So it is not when the resident calls to pick up for their bulky item pickup, it's not, they don't have a $55 charge, but that cost is spread over all the rates. I just wanted to be clear, it is free to the resident, but that cost is associated within Recology's cost proposal to us. Then option B is similar to what the other jurisdictions have, as they are, all of the jurisdictions at this point have agreed to 2 annual pickups, bulky item pickups per year. That's basically certainly going to have a slightly higher cost. And then option C is to not include a bulky item pickup and continue that current annual community cleanup. One thing I wanted to just note for your consideration is for residents that are elderly or injured, for folks that don't have a way to transport the materials, this offers a really much more convenient option. And it also, if somebody wants to get rid of their mattress and they don't want to wait for the cleanup, they're not going to do illegal drop off, illegal dumping at the side of the road. And then I just, Kyle had shared some of the information from that annual cleanup, the Mother's Day cleanup. And I did take a quick look, and it does look like not a lot of participation when you look at across the city of Rio Dell. When I looked at it, it's 134 vehicles came in 2024. We likely will see more material collected and disposed with a bulky item pickup because of the convenience. That's, like I said, I've been in garbage and recycling since for a very long time, since 1989. That has been my experience. And what I would really recommend is, when I've shared this with the other jurisdictions, is we really want the residents to use the service. We want to have that outreach and education say, use your bulky item pickup. It's not at no cost to you. It really does reduce illegal dumping. So that is option B. Option A is 1 annual cleanup. Option B is 2. cleanups, and option C is no cleanup of the bulky item, but continue that annual cleanup event. So I'm going to stop there and get your thoughts and feedback.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr?
Just really quickly, I'm for the two bulky item because Christmas and spring cleaning seem to be bulky times, but our option C says hybrid approach, one cleanup event plus one bulky
Oh,
pickup.
that's the next one.
Am I the wrong one?
You're on number 4.
Oh, okay.
That threw me off too. That's the only reason.
Jumping
I know.
ahead.
That's fine. No,
And
I'm good.
there is that hybrid approach as well. Yes. And that's like you said, into number 4.
Is that clear on how the curbside thing works? Do they just have a route that they come around and pick this stuff up, or do you have to call them and say, I got a big piece of, I got a mattress out on my curb.
Yeah. You would
And you
call
have to
them.
a certain date, a certain time. How does that work?
Yeah. The resident would call Recology, and Recology would then say, we're going to pick it up on your next collection day. I'm just throwing a day out there, next Thursday. So it's the resident calling Recology, and Recology then scheduling that within their flatbed truck, and they come and pick up that material on that allotted day. It is a scheduled bulky item. People don't randomly just put it out. You have to call, and Recology will collect it.
So they have one, like Rio Dell will have one day on a weekly basis or bi-weekly, or that they come by and
Recology, similar to these shared costs, they will have a flatbed truck that will be running throughout all of the jurisdictions. And so when, say, 25 Rio Dell residents schedule their pickups on a certain day, they will allocate that to the truck. They will allocate those collections. There will not be one truck designated to Rio Dell. It would be one of those shared costs. So that fleet and the vehicles would be a shared cost throughout. You are not paying for all of those fixed costs of that flatbed truck, just to be clear.
so you'll have to schedule this with Recology on
That's right. And that will be part of the outreach and education. And also I would recommend we include it on the Rio Dell City website, just so folks that perhaps are moving to Rio Dell know that it's available.
because Recology isn't real good about responding to telephone calls.
That is, I was gonna say.
That's a huge, I've heard it from a
Yes.
lot of people. They just want to get a question or something, and they never, it'll say, hey, well, leave your phone number and we'll call you back. Well, good luck, they never call you back. And so, that's something I would hope as a contractor you would do for us, that
Yeah.
we would get some kind of a guarantee that they're gonna respond to us so people can deal with this.
Thank you
Otherwise,
so much. We have included that as a performance standard, and there are liquidated damages for non-compliance if they don't pick up. And I have had conversations with Recology about that very thing, because I have called Recology and have been on hold just to see how customer service responds. And it was incredible how long it took to get my phone answered. So this is one of the things that we have included in the new franchise agreement as part of performance standards. This is an ongoing conversation, however, with Recology, because I'm recommending that they commit more staff to customer service.
and the other thing is, this is a charge that will go to each customer in the jurisdiction. And not like the green waste is an add-on right now, is an add-on to your, you get recycling with your landfill disposal solid waste. And then if you want green waste, you pay another, I don't know what it is, something. You pay an additional charge per billing cycle to go with that. But does this
what we are
go
proposing
with
is slightly
recycling?
different. I'm sorry, what we're proposing is slightly different than that for the new service. And again, this is at your direction. That similar to what residents have right now, where they have their garbage service and then the recycling is offered at no charge. What we would be recommending is what's called a bundled service, where the organics and the recycling are included for the resident as one charge. So if you have, say, a 64-gallon garbage container, you're going to receive also a recycling container, an organics collection container. You will not see separate costs for organics. It will be one rate for all those three services on your bill from Recology.
They'll all be included in one charge.
Yes, it's called a bundled rate, and it's.
Whichever option we choose,
I'm sorry?
including whichever option A, B, or C that we choose, or A and B, that we choose, if we choose one of those. We have to choose an A or a B, if I'm understanding, or a C.
And I'm sorry, I'm just going to back up for a second. I thought you were talking about collection of organics being separate. This is actually what I was just talking about was separate than bulky item collection. It's in the new services that Recology would provide to Rio Dell. Is right now Rio Dell residents have a garbage container and a recycling container, and that is all at one charge. What we would be proposing is in the new services that would begin on January 1st of 2027, it would be one charge that your residents would see for all three services. And those three services, what I mean is solid waste, recycling, and organics. This is I just wanted to I was trying to clarify your point a little bit earlier when you said organics was an additional cost. We are not proposing that we would do that. We would have what's called as a bundled service where Rio Dell residents would only see one service charge for all those three services for their organics collection, their recycling, and their garbage. I was trying to clarify just that point a little bit earlier, separate from the bulky item collection item we're talking about right now.
Understand the clarification. My additional question is still, so that because once you go universal collection, you get all of those in one charge. Is the curbside included in that universal collection one charge?
Yes. That rate would be applied inclusive of the cost that would include whether the one bulky item or the two bulky item. It would be all in that one charge that the resident would see if they had, say, a 32-gallon container or a 64-gallon container or a 96-gallon container. They would not see an additional charge on their bill from Recology for a bulky item collection.
Thank you.
Thank you. And sorry about that long answer. I just wanted to make sure.
We need to get it clear though.
Great.
Here goes there.
Thank you. We do need some kind of bulky item collection. I think that's a major perk. I think it will help, like we said, with dumping. Sometimes also people don't just dump it on the river bar, they just keep it in their yard forever. And I think it would also help with that too. As far as one or two would be great. Let's see the numbers before I weigh in, completely. And I want to second what Councilmember Wilson said, which is if we have to call and schedule, they need to answer the phone because I've had a real hard time getting through it myself sometimes. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I would go with option B because it just sounds like it would be great. It would be very convenient. And I think some of the mothers, the annual program, I think sometimes the numbers are low because it's the day before Mother's Day and a lot of people aren't here and can't dump it off on the neighbor to take it. So I think that this would be very helpful to everyone. The one thing, and I'm not sure, I'm trying to clarify what Councilmember Wilson was trying to clarify there, is that, like, for example, option B says increased convenience, higher cost, meaning there is a cost. And so question then is it just in the base rate, so to speak?
That's
what I-
correct.
That's what, yes. I
It's
think
spread
that-
across all rates. That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure there.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I think we are.
Just one- Go ahead.
No,
With this, if we go to this curbside thing, does that then eliminate the universal dump off day that we have now? Does that go away?
So I think that's covered under item number 4.
Is that number 4?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm ahead of myself.
And before we move on to item 3, do we have consensus on for option B? And I know we're looking to get numbers once we get that cost proposal. But are we looking at option B at this point?
yeah.
Thank you.
City manager, did you have something? Oh, that was all.
That was
Okay, okay. Okay, number 3.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
move
you.
along. I'll move along more quickly. So low income discount. So if residents have a PG&E care program, if they qualify for that single family, and this would only be for single family customers, the city council does have the option to include a discount for their garbage service. And this would, of course, be providing rate relief for these income qualified residents. Some have talked about senior rate discount, but we have talked a whole lot, and really sometimes it's just low income, not necessarily senior. So seniors, of course, would be included, but if they qualify for the PG&E care program, they could, of course, qualify for the discount, and it is up to city council's discretion if you wanted a 5% or a discount or a 10%. The other jurisdictions have weighed in, and they are at a 10% discount. And again, these program costs would be spread across the total rate base. So it is at the city's discretion. So wanted to get your feedback and thoughts on that.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Do you have any questions?
I guess is number 4 a separate issue than
Yes.
number 3?
Yes,
So
Yes.
all the discussion we just had on number 3
that was number 2.
could go, it would be either 4 take its place or 3 be the one we use.
No, we were talking, the discussion we just had was on number 2.
Those are number 4.
The discussion we just had was number 2. We're coming up to number 4, but right now we're at number 3, which is about a discount. It's right at the very, very bottom of
I
the
see
first page.
low income discount.
And then the next page is, there you go.
So we're not doing number 4.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, give a discount. Well, I guess. Either that or they'll dump it on the road. Man.
All right, Councilmember Orr?
Just a quick question. So the base rate that we're talking about for the 3 containers, that still varies depending upon size of the bin that the user needs, correct?
Exactly. If it's a 96-gallon container, it's going to be more expensive than a 32-gallon container. Yes. If of solid waste, of garbage. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all for a discount.
Okay, Councilmember Mayor.
I would like to offer the discount. I think this is one of those situations that's going to be tough no matter what we do. And I think that it's up to us to make it, if there's any way to make it potentially a little bit easier on people, and this is one of them, we should, yes, discount 10%.
I agree that we should offer discount. I hope that as you are doing your negotiation and doing your the cost studies, that you could perhaps show us what a 10%, what a 5%, what an 8%, because really I understand that then it will go across the total base, and which means that all of the residents will bear the burden of the discount. And so therefore, if we could see, what this discount versus that discount would be, because you might not be low income, but you might be on the line. And so you might need some consideration as well. So if that's a doable thing, that would be.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. We can definitely do that.
Definitely believe in the discounts for low income.
Thank you. Okay, that sounds like it's unanimous. Can I agreeable to move on to the annual community cleanup?
Yes, please.
Great. So the one we've been waiting for. So with the city hosting the annual cleanup, to drop off their bulky items. So option A is to continue with the annual cleanup as it currently is structured, or replace it with one or two of the bulky items. So we would basically supplement the bulky item cleanup with the with one or two of these. Sorry, that is not accurate. Option B is to replace one or two bulky items with the curbside. And then option C is to consider doing both. Retain one cleanup event and then do the bulky item. I would caution that option C would be probably the more costly of all options, because there's quite a bit of logistics and staff time and containers involved with that cleanup event. And if we do the hybrid, we probably option C would likely be our higher cost item. So I would just caution on that one. And then we just talked about the convenience of bulky items. So wanted to get council's feedback on this one.
I would go with option B, just replace it. I think it might be a little confusing to have both things going on. I would also want to know what the other jurisdictions are doing, because once again, I think consistency is good. But ultimately, I too think that it's a kind of, it uses a lot of staff time on a Saturday when the weather's nice. So I'd go with ditch it and replace it with a bulky item curbside pickups. That's me, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could just answer, we are not intending, the other jurisdictions are not intending a community cleanup. So the other jurisdictions are going with the two bulky item cleanup and, the two bulky item collection and not a community cleanup.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Councilmember Orr.
I'm inclined to go with option B, but I did have a question about the bulky item pickup, not going back to number 2, but has it been discussed, or is there an option to have vouchers for bulky item instead of, or curbside pickup for people that they don't necessarily have a single bulky item, but they have a trailer full of trash that they can use the voucher to go to the dump? Something that can't be thrown on a flatbed by waste management easily.
Yeah. I would have to look into that one. Thank you for that question. I would have to look into that one and get back to you on that one. So vouchers, so that if they had materials and they take it over to HWMA where they could just dispose of it at no cost, I think is what you're saying. Is that correct?
Right. It ends up being the same 2 pickups / drop-offs per year, but one is the option to take it yourself if it's multiple loose items to clean out an attic or a garage or something, and it's not a single bulky item that can be loaded on.
Got it. I will circle back on that one. Thank you.
That was it. No, you're good.
Councilmember Wilson.
So again, for my clarification, we're looking at, when we come to this item 4, are we looking at either choosing item 2 or 4? Is that what we are doing? It sounds like we're going through a redundant thing kind of here. We just went through it in 2, and now we're dealing with 4, which has the community cleanup, the
and we could have, absolutely, we could have consolidated those. So really, the question is completely eliminating the community cleanup and going to bulky items. So you're absolutely accurate. We could have consolidated these two items.
That's what item 4 is, just decide to keep the
Yes.
the one. And as you're gonna use this information to figure out the costs, will that come back to the council so that we see the end results of our decision before we make a final decision? Or are we making the final decision tonight?
We're requesting direction from council tonight, and once we receive, so for example, I'm hearing that option B, where we are eliminating the community cleanup and going to 2 bulky item, if that's the consensus of the council, then we would integrate that into Rio Dell's new franchise agreement, and then get Recology to provide the cost proposal on that. And then we would return back to city council with the new franchise agreement, the new cost proposal, and what those resulting rates would look like. So this cost will be returning back to you for your review and consideration.
It's to me, it's either. I don't see it how it doesn't affect me directly, but I understand particularly Councilmember Orr's comment where they end up with like they clean out a garage, or they do something that generates an extra amount of trash. And then you have the bulky item. So you get with the hybrid, you get retain the cleanup community agreement and one cleanup event plus one bulky item. I would kind of lean towards the hybrid. But I live with either one. But I mean, that's just.
Thank you all. I think she's gonna look at that whole voucher question.
I can see if this is as confusing as this, at least to me, I don't know what I'm not the sharpest in the package, but this, once we get through this, somehow the city of Rio Dell, if they care, I don't know whether they care or not. I'm frustrated with that. They should be.
It should, absolutely. I thought they would be. So I would go with option B. I will ask though, when it says 1 or 2 bulky items, this is just a curiosity question. If I have a mattress and a chair, and I call for a bulky item because there is no S, and I'm very particular about things like that. So is it like a mattress, or could it be 2 mattresses on the same pickup?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The way that we have structured it in the franchise agreement, it is one household item like a refrigerator or a range or a washer or a dryer, water heater. So it's basically one large item is what they allow. And then they have restrictions in terms of the containers cannot exceed 2 feet by 4 feet. And I'm just looking at our franchise agreement. My apologies. I wanted to just fill it out. There's one more item. So it is up to, it is one large item, but then, and my apologies, I can't find the item where it says, then there's a certain number of bags. It's like 150 pounds of garbage bags that you can include, old cleanup materials, or, I'm going to follow back up because I don't have it right in front of me. My apologies. But it's, to answer your question, it's one large appliance and then basically up to 6 bags of garbage that you can.
Okay, thank you. And I would say that you pretty much put almost not like a stove, but you could put a vacuum cleaner next to your garbage can and they pick it up even now. Yeah, and that's not even an agreement thing.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
I think we are, overall saying option B,
Okay. And thank
and
you.
you're gonna check on the voucher.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna check on the vouchers. Thank you. And then I'm going to follow up with the exact wording in the franchise agreement about all the materials on the bulky item to your question. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
If I can proceed to number 5.
That would be great.
Thank you. So the 20-gallon garbage container offer the smaller garbage container option for residents who generate minimal waste. So right now, typically some of the residents have a 64-gallon or a 32. Once the resident receives an organics container, organics, HWMA and Eric, the executive director, has reviewed the materials that we can accept in terms of food waste. And it's a fairly long list of what those organics are. It's pizza boxes, it's food, it's meat, it's fish, paper towels. So it's a significant amount of materials that can go into your organics container. And then, as you know, there's many diverse items that can go into your recycling container. So really the result is what's left is oftentimes not much. So a 20-gallon garbage container is an area that we'd really like to encourage to increase the diversion in Rio Dell and reduce the amount of material going to landfill. And then, of course, there's a lower cost for the resident on that 20-gallon container. So we really would like to encourage folks to have that 20-gallon container. I'd like to share that I have a family of 4. And we do have a 20-gallon container, so we're able to have weekly collection with a 20-gallon for a family of 4. So just as a comparison, we do have a 64-gallon container for recycling, and a 96-gallon for our organics and food waste. So we tend to max out all of those pretty well. So just to give you a frame of reference, so those are really wanted to encourage and. Not necessarily an option, but we would like to include this for the residents as an option when we get the cost proposal and then the resulting rate structure from Recology.
Councilmember Ward.
Yeah,
good.
a great idea, just simply because if you leave them with a bigger trash can, they're gonna throw more stuff in that trash can instead of separating it, to be honest, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then moving on to 6, which is our last item. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just I have consensus and no one has questions. I'm with you, but I have to do it.
Yes, offer the option.
We already have the 20-gallon option. Now, we already do that.
Okay.
I mean, so I guess it wouldn't change what I'm doing with it. Is it gonna take, you're taking away the 32-gallon?
No.
No, we would continue the 32, but use the 20-gallon. I do not have a 20-gallon in my rate structure from Recology, and that might be a Recology error. So we simply wanted to include it. It is what all jurisdictions are doing. We wanted in the era of uniformity, we wanted to have all residents have the option of a 20-gallon, a 32, a 64, or a 96.
You probably need to go look at your franchise agreement, because I know when that went up this last year, it goes up every year a little bit. I went through and looked at the thing, and I was trying to follow the numbers on the 32-gallon. I thought that's what I had, but then I saw that it tells me on my bill that I'm a 20-gallon.
Okay. Well, thank you.
20 gallons. So there's a 20-gallon and a 32-gallon, and I guess it's a 64, the bigger one. So it looks to me like it's already included.
Excellent.
Because being charged for numbers bared out with the rate increase for this, that became effective in whatever it was, July or whatever became effective.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think we are in consensus for the 20-gallon garbage container.
That's
Option.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Really appreciate the feedback there. And on the last one, the franchise fee modification. So the I'm sure you're very familiar, provides the franchise fee provides revenue to, pay all the administrative and oversight costs for the solid waste management and support a lot of those general fund activities related to waste. So right now, as you know, Rio Dell's is at 5%, the franchise fee. And just as a comparison for Eureka at 10%, Arcata at 10%, Fortuna 8%, Humboldt County at 5%. So some of the considerations are to basically increase that to provide more revenue for the city and a sustainable revenue. SB 1383 has a lot of administrative requirements, and that could certainly help the city report back to CalRecycle on those administrative requirements. So that's some of that could help staff pay for some of the reporting that is required as part of what CalRecycle requires for SB 1383. So wanted to open that up for discussion.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
What do you want me to answer you? I'm just,
Do you agree or disagree with adjusting the franchise fee to be consistent with the other jurisdictions? I don't know what that number
I
exactly
don't know, on mine, it says the regional comparison estimated. What do you want me to change? I mean, I guess I misunderstood. I thought you just going over the comparison, what's the numbers she gave didn't match on the paper, but I wasn't gonna bring it up during the conversation, but what do you want me to match?
So the question, if I could just reiterate, the question is, would city council be open to increasing the franchise fee so to perhaps meet Fortuna's 8% franchise fee to allow the city to have more sustainable revenue for the city moving forward?
So do we want, you saying, what you're asking is if we want to raise our fees in order to receive more revenue for the city?
That's right. Raise the franchise fee. Yes.
I'm for keeping the price as low as we can keep it. If we're paying the bill, why I would like to see our city pay the least amount that they have to, because if I'm hearing the question right, this garbage is gonna go up. And people haven't got that. I'm on HWMA and I've been listening to this for a long time. People find that if they look into this, the most undervalued charge that we get is garbage. And HWMA's charges, which are passed, a lot of it is passed on through to us in the process. And if we, it's gonna go up. So I don't see any reason to increase our rates just to see that directly go to the city. The citizens are gonna get hit with, they're getting hit with everything, water, sewer, throughout the whole county, as well as everybody's getting these effects. And I would like to keep our rates as low as we possibly can. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm behind raising it, the franchise fees, because you're saying basically with more reporting is going to come either another position or more man hours. Behind all of that, they're gonna have to be paid for somehow.
Yes. There's a lot of administrative costs that a part-time staff person or somebody will need to do to report back to CalRecycle on compliance with SB 1383.
Which is gonna fall on the city to fund whether we get money from the users or it comes out of some other fund that's.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
It says, and I'm sorry if you told me and I missed it, is it Rio Dell at 5% now
Yes.
currently? Okay, so we're the same as the county. The tough one, because I understand both sides of that one. You know,
I would honestly say save it for the numbers.
yeah, that is a save it for the numbers kind of thing for me. I would like to see, because the percentage, the 5%, it's a percentage, that 5% is the percentage of the bill.
Of gross revenue, of
Gross revenue.
Recology's gross revenue.
Okay,
The vast majority of your bills actually associated with Humboldt Waste Management Authority fees.
Yes. It
so,
would be a fairly
Yeah.
nominal impact, but we could have Recology run of the 5% compared to say an 8% compared to the numbers, whatever you and
yeah, that would be great.
decide. We could do an analysis with Recology on that.
That
For
would
a
be great.
franchise fee, it would be fairly low, a fairly low impact to rates because it's spread so wide across the entire jurisdiction, but certainly understand the concerns on any rate impact for the ratepayers.
It's like, she go, there you go. Hi.
Disappear.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you need from us? We really appreciate you being here. We appreciate your going over and, just clarifying issues so that we can speak to it intelligently when we're talking to constituents. And I want to say thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you.
Just the public.
Oh, public comments. Sorry, don't go anywhere. Public comments? Hand raised? Emails? Where'd Jesse go? He's gonna have a question, but he left. So, I think that has been it. And again, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank you
great
so
evening.
much. You too.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Todd. And now we will move on to item number 2, receive staff report on past discussions and the process for establishing billboards, page 67 in our packets. Stephen.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to our Community Development Director, Mr. Kevin Baldwin.
Thank you very much. Members of the council, this item is on your agenda tonight at the request of Mr. Capini, who was here on the meeting of October 7th, requesting to discuss billboard, in particular a community billboard, most likely at the city's wastewater disposal site for folks heading southbound coming into town, let them know the city of Rio Dell is here and we offer services for folks. A little bit of discussion. Background, I should say. We do have guidelines right now, our sign regulations, and they're called freeway-oriented billboards. And there's a section in our municipal code that allows for them. It would need to be amended to include that site, that wastewater disposal field site. Right now, billboards are limited to the Humboldt Rio Dell Business Park. We've got 2 of them over there. And if you look on page, there's a map. Page 72 actually shows the 2 billboards. One at the south entrance, one at the north entrance. And then on page 73, it's an overhead view and it shows the locations of those 2 billboards there. So what we would need to do is we need direction from the council to amend the regulations to allow billboards on the west side of Highway 101. And we would also have to rezone a number of little slivers over there to industrial commercial. Under Caltrans regulations, billboards are only allowed in industrial or commercial zoning designation. The area right now is on public facilities. As the council may remember, back in 2022, at the direction of the council, we actually issued an RFP looking for proposals from outdoor advertising firms to place some billboards on city property. That time we were looking primarily over the Humboldt Rio Dell side of the business park. The city actually owns a small sliver of land, and that's actually highlighted on page 68 of your staff report there. What Mr. Capini is talking about is what's called a community-oriented billboard. They're typically smaller billboards, and I think you may have referenced the one that Fortuna has at your meeting on the 7th, which if you're headed north into Fortuna, I think it's a bluish grayish sign. I'm colorblind, I think it's bluish grayish. Basically says, come to the city of Fortuna, we've got goods and services to offer. And I think that's what the Chamber of Commerce is looking for as well. So what we would do is we would take it to the planning commission in your direction, pursue a rezone of possibly up to 3 slivers, to site potentially 3 billboards over there. One of them would be a community billboard, one of them might possibly be an LED billboard. An LED billboard actually changes, similar to the casinos, but not at that scale. There's one on the south end of Eureka. I think that one is 10 by 20. We'd be looking at something at that scale there. But with the direction of the council, we will try to get this on next Tuesday's planning commission agenda if your council so directs. I know that Mr. Capini may have some words, and I know that Jesse Jeffries, who actually owns a property over there, has some words too to say. Right now, our current regulations restrict billboards so they're no closer than 1 half mile apart. Because we have those 2 existing billboards over at the Humboldt Rio Dell Business Park, it would eliminate any potential billboards over there. So we're looking at probably suggesting an amendment to limit the distance no more than 1,000 feet or 1,000 feet or so. And Mr. Jeffrey's property actually would accommodate a billboard if that amendment were passed and approved, adopted by your council. Mr. Jeffries actually reached out to the city probably 3 or 4 years ago about the possibility of actually citing the billboard over there. And we just never moved forward on it. With Mr. Capini's approach to the council last week, it's time to revisit that. And again, at your direction, we'll certainly do that. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. If not, Mr. Capini may want to make some comments on Mr. Jeffers.
Yeah, I would just,
Thank you.
yeah, personally, I'd just like to thank everyone for getting right on this topic and your time. The one thing I would note, this billboard that you drew up, I mean, is ideal for what I was thinking. One change I would make maybe is say next exit on it. But yeah, I just when I came here, it was through the chamber, but now I feel it's more city chamber. So is it 50-50? I'm trying to figure out where we're at, where I should stand on this. And then I don't know on a time frame of reaching out far as funding. If I should wait a little bit and get more information. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Thank you. Probably need to get more information, but let's move on and maybe Kevin knows
If I
something.
may, through the mayor, it takes roughly 2 months to go through the planning commission and then to the city council. There's actually 2 readings of the city council. The first one is an introduction of the ordinance, the second one's the adoption, and then the ordinance becomes effective 30 days after that. So you're probably looking at maybe 60, 75 days before it would actually become effective, if in fact the amendments do pass.
Okay, yeah. We're just trying to gather information when I go back to the chamber and keep things moving along. So yeah, I appreciate for all this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Good
Karen.
evening, welcome.
Good to see you guys this evening. As far as signs go, I spoke to Kevin about 3 years ago. I'm personally more interested in a commercial sign, an LED lit sign, on the property at 350 Northwestern Avenue, which is next to Glen there, where the construction company is currently. And I paid a lot of money for that property and the hype of the real estate boom. And probably worth about a third of what I paid for it today. And I would like to see some revenue get generated. And I've been looking into signs. There is that one when you come into Eureka there on the south end. You know, the first gas station is when you first come to Eureka there on the right, it's owned by All Points too. And it's an LED lit sign that can be changed remotely. And so I was looking for something like that. With the current ordinance, when I looked into it 3 years ago, it states that they have to be a half a mile apart of each other. And the signs that are currently there on the park were, I believe they were part of there were sawmills. It was an in and out exit sign, and it kind of somehow turned into an advertisement sign. Then it got permitted through Caltrans, and they're just kind of grandfathered when the city took it over. And so with the bridge being moved in 2027, I originally wanted to propose putting a sign at the Green Building, but now this bridge heading northbound, I think, is coming down in 27 and getting moved over closer to the southbound bridge. And so it kind of cuts off that entire end of the park as far as LED sign would go, and visibility in the freeway would get realigned there. And so farther down the track there by Glen, I think would be a great spot for an LED sign. I know, yeah, I've been interested in this for quite a few years, and I heard this discussion was coming. I just wanted to come in and kind of speak what was on my mind. So, thank you.
Again, if I may, through the mayor, when Jesse and I talked this afternoon, one of the advantages of an LED sign, in case there is an emergency, he would offer that sign for the city's use, provide directions, provide guidelines. Which would be a great public benefit.
Yeah, there's not many of them to follow up on that. I don't think there's many besides the one there coming to Eureka that I'm aware of along the whole 101 that's LED lit, other than the Bear River Casino sign. And so, yeah, for me, I'd like to see some sort of revenue. I have that property I've been paying on it for 6 years, and I paid a lot of money for it, and zero income so far. So, thank you.
Thank you. Rosemary?
Great. Thank you. First, I'm going to address Wally. I am thankful for you for coming and for doing in the order that you're doing it, right? I was at the chamber meeting where this came up, and it was like a potential, could the chamber apply for funding to like get a grant to build a cool billboard, but what's the point of even pursuing those grants if it's not possible through the city? So that's kind of how this ended up here. I also love this, except change the slogan, but yes, I think that'd be great. So I guess you have your answer. It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable. So the long and short of it is, it's doable. And I'll hear what the other council members say, obviously, but this is not a straight up no for you. So that's good. That's great. Especially if the chamber is willing to take on some other responsibility about, actually getting the thing up. I'm going to move on to Jesse. Obviously, I would love to get you some revenue on that land. You've been an asset to the city for a long time now. And to me, if it's just as easy to rezone something and help you out, I would love to do that. Quick question. What would the billboard say? What do you?
Anybody that wanted to advertise on all the way through Eureka or Ada, anywhere in the county.
So it'd be like advertising, and what you're talking about would be like, yay, Rio Dell, get off the freeway. 10-4. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. That's me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't speak.
Oh,
If you can, please. The mayor will.
So yeah, I think I already said this already, but basically the way that the ordinance is written right now, the signs have to be a half mile apart from each other, but with the current layout that they are, it really doesn't even allow for a third sign over there at all. So essentially the ordinance saying that 3 signs are allowed, but then the distance doesn't allow for 3 signs.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Roll.
Hey, if we can get people off the highway into Rio Dell, I'm all for it.
Basically the same thing. If it's gonna bring people into the city. But did you say that the city has to pay you to rent the space, or isn't it the guy that owns the sign that pays you?
Oh, yeah, so I've been looking a little bit into signs. Most signs are owned by like big outside companies. Obviously, I keep this owned locally, personally. And yeah, most people get into these contracts and they sign these 30-year contracts. They got another company that comes in, manages the sign, does all that type of stuff. But I would keep it owned personally. And
So you would own the sign and then rent it to the city?
I wouldn't rent to the city. I would allow the city to use my sign would be going northbound.
Yeah.
on the freeway. So I don't know that my sign is kind of going the opposite direction to welcome Rio Dell and people into Rio Dell. I guess it could be a double sign like that, the freeway, but
But in an emergency.
yeah, in an emergency, it would just be used from the city and be able to allow the city to put up, if there's some sort of emergency, like the earthquake stuff was going on and.
So it's not really cost to the city, we're just allowing you to do.
Yeah, I want to build a sign for commercial use for profit and
We're just changing the ordinance.
yeah, I need a rule change of the setback.
Okay, that's what I thought I understood first.
Yeah, so that's what that hinders me now. So yeah, and it would be able to be provided to the city if there was some important message that needed to be displayed, you know?
Okay,
Thank you.
that.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, and if I may, come to the mayor again, back in 21, when we did issue that RFP, by the way, I don't think I told you that we did not get one response from any of the outdoor advertising companies. You're talking all points, you're talking up front,
Oh yeah.
stop advertising. You basically got 0 responses. But if we actually zone 2, maybe 3 sites at the wastewater disposal field, one of them could be for a city billboard if the city wanted to get into the business of advertising. For example, on your desk tonight, I put a copy that for some reason did not show up in your packet. But on the last page, 3rd page, there's a copy of an LED billboard there. And I just had AI generate it, and I asked him to put a Coyote Valley Casino and a skunk train advertisement on it. So it could be a potential revenue source for the city. The city of Folsom, the city of Sacramento actually owns their own billboards, and they actually generate revenue for advertising. So if that's the direction the council wants to go down the road, by zoning these slivers of land, and they're going to be small slivers of land just to accommodate the sign themselves. These signs are basically 10 by 20 feet. So you're probably looking at a 20 by 40 foot sliver of land, either 2 or 3 slivers that would rezone to industrial commercial to potentially allow for the community oriented billboard, which the chamber wants to put up, which would be a great idea. And then one where the city might own it and operate it and actually make some revenue on it. It's just something that will come up down the road. But in order to make this happen right now, we need to make some text amendments to accommodate him.
So that's
and
an
accommodate the
ordinance and
community.
a zoning, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A map
So-
and a text amendment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm for everything. I'm not for more than one sign on the west side. I mean, I can be outvoted. I'm okay with that. I'm good with the community side, but
Yeah.
I'm more about let's keep the view beautiful like it is. But but I'm happy with the welcome to Rio Dell. And I am easygoing, so if everybody else wanted it, I'm not gonna stop my feet or anything. The Friendly City is Fortuna's logo,
Yeah.
so we don't want to put that on
I
there.
should have said the friendly.
And this is Kevin
Yeah, friendlier.
Yeah.
Way friendlier city. Yes, that's what we call. But anyway, I am for, yes.
My saying was small town, big heart.
Okay.
It's good.
I love that.
It's
Yeah,
good.
that's good. So I think we are consensus. Do I need a motion, approve the request? Is there a motion to approve the request?
So
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 4-0.
There it is.
And now we will move on to ordinances and special resolutions. 2025/1021-.08. Approve resolution number 1651-2025 authorizing the execution of a financing agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board and complying with California Government Code Section 5852.1 in an amount of $3,476,083.01, including principal and interest. Page 85 in our packet, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes and members of the council. So the city has been working for quite a long time on this water capital improvement project, really starting in 2015. And we are in the midst of construction of the project. The city was awarded a $12.9 million grant through the State Water Resources Control Board to accomplish this project, which is a huge benefit, both in terms of getting all the work done in one chunk versus spreading it out over multiple years, but also getting that large chunk of state funding in to Rio Dell to save ratepayer dollars. The city has attempted over the past couple of years to increase the amount of the grant award. However, the state of California the State Water Resources Control Board has said that there will be no additional grants available for this project. So when the project was put out to bid, right, when the rubber met the road, it was structured in such a way that items could be peeled off of the bid to meet the budget for the project. So in that process, some items were cut out to fit into the total $12.9 million budget, $10 million construction allocation, plus the reserve. So we're at a decision point, and looking for the council's direction to complete the fully envisioned project. We would essentially need to take out financing in order to complete the originally envisioned project. Again, the stage loan provide additional funding directly as a grant. However, they will finance this particular project. So the total debt service, as the mayor mentioned earlier, is $3.476 million. That includes interest as well. But the principal amount that would be taken out in this loan would be 2.345, and the interest rate would be 1.9%, and spread out over a 42-year period, with interest over a fairly lengthy period of time. So this is 1.9% interest. We would prefer to see it zero from the state, and we have tried to make that case with the state of California related to the city's status as a disadvantaged community. However, 1.9% is very optimal interest rate, and that was what basically the state made available for us. The council has the option in this case to not proceed with this and not take out the additional loan. And that is an option, but the capital need still remains with the system and would eventually need to be funded. And there's no guarantee that the state would provide an additional grant for us to complete the project. The costs would be higher down the road on top of that, and so on and so forth. So this is an optimal time to do it. There is a debt issuance that the city previously has accrued that is retiring in 2028 or 2029. So there's a little bit of an overlap between the two debt payments, but plenty within the capacity of the current rate structure to cover. And so staff is recommending moving forward with this lending option. And again, if approved, the additional work will be conducted on Aloha, North Court, Rigby, Painter, Walker, Berkeley, Davis, and Center. So what we're talking about is additional hydrants, meter boxes, valves, and additional piping services down the street, and as well as the service lines that connect the homes. So, and then I don't know if Randy has anything else to add to that, but
I would suggest that we go through this and pass it. Bottom line.
Okay, and if we do this loan, will it happen at the same time? It'll just be continuation. We won't have to break down and start over again. It'll just be a part of this particular thing, the operation that's going on right now.
Yeah, so this is the time where we kind of need to make the decisions to include the additives or just permanently abandon them. And so, now is the time, they're going to be mobilized for into next year. So the timeline is kind of stretched out a little bit. They'll also be working on the tank during the winter. The council has received the previous agenda item, but yeah, this would basically integrate into the existing projects.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I don't like projects that are only finished 90%. And so, yeah, it's painful to be like, oh, we're gonna pay this off in 2067, but it's a little, just do it. Okay, go.
Councilmember Orr? Councilmember Wilson?
Yep.
Are there any hands raised? Any emails? Is there a motion to?
Don't move.
Yes.
For the resolution 16.
No,
I approve the resolution.
Resolution 60, sorry, I closed my thing up there.
Yes, I made that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Motion carries 4-0. And we are at council comments and communications. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. First and foremost, we spoke last time about the Davis Street Park lot lines being a straight line rather than curving around. And I said I'd get back to you guys. So I went to the school board meeting. Their school board is completely fine to change those lot lines to go around. They just kind of went, when in doubt, draw a straight line. I don't know. So when I asked about it, they said, sure thing. So just to make it absolutely official, they've directed their superintendent to add that to the November agenda so that they can formally vote to make those lot lines just give us a little bit, what's like an extra acre or something,
About a half acre.
whatever it is, a little bit of extra land. So that's my report back on the lot lines. Wildwood Witches Bike Ride is this Saturday, October 25th at noon. We're starting at the CNC Market. Rain or shine, it's gonna be rain, but I'm gonna be there. It's not that I want to ride my bike in the rain, but I really am all about these reoccurring community events that if somebody took the time out of their schedule and the energy to put this on, that I'm gonna be there. So, it'll be fun. On Halloween Day, we've got the downtown trick or treat happening kind of over by Emerald Z for little kids around 1 o'clock. Then there's the Halloween dog costume contest at 3:30, also at the barber shop. That's on Halloween Day. Lastly, the trunk or treat at the fire hall on Halloween is from 6 to 8 p.m.
Is the school gonna do the morning thing?
The school's gonna do the morning thing. I believe that's at 9 a.m., but they usually leave from the school at 9 a.m. and then it takes them a second to be up here. So, that's always really fun to hand out candy at City Hall. So, anybody who wants can come on over. The next Chamber of Commerce meeting is November 3rd at 6 p.m. That is a Monday at the Resource Center. And my very last and most important thing is that if Julie's watching, to say, we miss you, Julie, and we hope you're doing well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was.
No reports or anything, but what are the legalities associated with maybe on one of those billboards doing next services 500 miles? So they.
You're stuck. You better stop. I like it.
I would actually have to look into that,
Yeah.
but I think it's a great idea.
It's a awesome idea.
Councilmember Wilson?
A quick question for Councilman Carter.
Yeah.
Does that include the outfield
Yeah.
with the lot line and guts all together?
Yeah, it'll go around the whole ball field, including the outfield. It was just cutting the outfield off last time in a straight line from the fence where the tennis court is. They're totally fine to change it to include the outfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was what I was hoping on.
Yes.
And, okay, and the other thing is I have RCA Thursday because of the way the weeks went. One of the things that happened, I don't know where you stand on some of this stuff that the RCA was doing with the tribes. The Trump administration they pulled back the funds that had already been awarded. This was on local news as well, had been awarded to, there was 4 tribes and then one of those pulled out because of this whole confusion. So it was left with the 3, I think Yurok, Blue Lake and maybe Bear River that had it. But these grids that they were gonna put in won't go in in the current configuration, the tribes have to come up with another $80 million or something that the administration pulled back. So, which I think is sad. Of all the things that RCA has done, this was one that was really going to help Humboldt County because these tribes are at the end of the grid. And so when there's a problem with the grid and the storms, they lose power. Well, if they would have put in the solar and the battery system, they would have like 3 days worth of batteries that they would go at a time, and they would be able to uphold their reservations, housing and all their settlements. And so that's whatever. So that's all.
Unfortunate, yeah. Okay, thank you. And I have nothing to report. I have nothing to report out. I will say, lost a good friend, Nancy Kurtz. Give her my tug of the ear because she and I watched Carol Burnett together, the reruns, and we lost her. If Rio Dell can be as resilient as 97-year-old Nancy Kurtz was, we will be just fine. Yes. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Is that the lady you had in the parade?
Yeah, and I brought the flag back too. Yeah. So I think we can ask for a motion to adjourn
Motion to adjourn.
November 4th, 6 p.m.
So
Motion, second?
Second.
No.